All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Ted, and we're continuing our discussion on the life and adventures of Alcibiades of Athens. And when we last broke, we just covered the arrest of Alcibiades and his flight from Athenian custody in Italy. And Alcibiades now, he's a wanted man in Athens. The Athenians, they imposed the death penalty on him in absentia, so he can't return to Athens. His estates are seized. He really can't go back home, and he shows up in the most unlikely of places. After escaping from Athenian custody and journey and wandering through the heartland of southern Italy, he emerges in Sparta of all places, where he convinces the Spartans to, one, give him safe harbor to protect him from his enemies in Athens, and two, to enlist him as a strategist in their war against Athens. And he crafts this war plan, this sort of two-pronged war plan for the Spartans. He advises the Spartans to immediately send military aid to Syracuse. He immediately tells them to send a general to go out there to train and discipline the Sicilian and Syracusan troops, along with sending reinforcements to Syracuse, to do this immediately to sort of head off the impending attack by the Athenian forces there. All right. He also advises the Athenians to move into Attica and occupy a site known as Decelea. And he tells them to do this because, one, it will cut off the silver supply to the city of Athens, and it will also serve as a base that they can use to encourage the slaves of the Athenians to run away. And by doing these two actions, he would immediately, one, incapacitate the Athenians economically, which was a no short order, would really just lead the city down to ruin. And then two, it would cripple her militarily. And now, to complete his change of allegiance, and this is really one of the more interesting things about Alcibiades, is that he didn't just talk the talk. In many events, he simply walked the walk. Now, you couldn't really find two more different citizens in the Greek world than the Spartans and the Athenians. You think of these refined and polished, these sort of elegant speaking, sort of outwardly material Athenians, and then these sort of stoic, reserved citizens of Sparta. And Alcibiades, he makes that complete 180 from being a distinguished Athenian aristocrat to the basic Spartan. He immediately adopts the long braids that the Spartans wore. The Spartans wore their hair in these very, not really intricate, but just sort of elaborate braids. These sort of plain braids that they wore. He begins to exercise, joining in the Spartan physical exercise routines. He eats the black broth, this sort of seasonless, almost like gruel type broth that every Spartan eats. It's the basic dish of the city, or the collection of villages that sort of synchronize into the city of Sparta. And he begins to speak in their laconic manner. And Alcibiades, he really impresses the Spartans. His plans, his a two-pronged plan is working out, is panning out. The Athenians, very quickly, Lamachus is killed in skirmishing with the Syracusans and their Sicilian allies under the command of their Spartan officer, their Spartan general. He's quickly killed, and Nicias really doesn't have the military capabilities to rally them or to lead them. So the Spartans and their Sicilian allies are gaining the upper hand there. One, with the silver cut off, Athens is beginning to suffer economically, and the slaves are fleeing from their bondage, from their Athenian masters, and the Spartans are settling them as freedmen, as supporters of the Peloponnesian League. And now Alcibiades, he's beginning to think of himself as a full-on Spartan. Alcibiades, of course, can do no wrong. He's the greatest thing in his mind since the wheel. He began to think of himself as more Spartan than the Spartans. And the Spartans, they had this very queer social rule in which let's say you want to say John is a good Spartan, okay, but John is married to Mary. And you have Jane. Jane is a good Spartan, but Jane is married to Paul. John and Jane can come together, have sex, and make a baby. And it's not a disrespect to their respective spouses. They're doing this because they're both Spartan citizens. And above all things, the Spartan citizens must subject themselves to making Sparta better. So John is a good Spartan man. Jane is a good Spartan woman. They're coming together. They're going to have a baby. This baby is going to be a super Spartan. It's going to be not a good Spartan, but a great Spartan. They sort of had this sort of weird social custom, and it really wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't thought of as infidelity. It was thought of as doing what you can to make Sparta a better place. And so now Alcibiades, he's now a Spartan. He's a great Spartan. What better way to prove that you can really do great things for the Spartan state than to carry on this great Spartan tradition? And Alcibiades sets out to seduce, to enrapture, to make the Spartan queen, the wife of the Spartan king Aegeus, his wife. He sets out to make her fall in love with him, and he successfully seduces her and successfully gets her pregnant. And at this point, Alcibiades finds out that no, while they are taken with him, while they do like him and they do admire the fact that he was very quickly able to adopt their mannerisms, and that they do appreciate what he's done militarily for them, they do not approve of him going out and seducing the king's wife. And the king Aegeus, he's furious when he finds out. And immediately Alcibiades had to beat a retreat from Sparta. He now finds himself in this awkward position in which the two premier Greek powers are both have a sentence of death against him. He can't go back to Athens, and he can't go back to Sparta. He had to quickly leave Sparta, and we'll break here, and we'll come back again, and we'll find out where Alcibiades goes after his retreat from Sparta.